Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Thoughts on a Friday. Yeah, some first thoughts on the gospel lesson that's coming up. And, you know, we're in that time of the year, you might recall, in which we move from the Easter season all the way up until when Jesus now moves into Jerusalem and it's crucifixion time. But see, we do all that stuff earlier on. We have this fast forward of Jesus' life from his birth until his death and resurrection that ends at the Easter season. Now we're just in all those in-between times, the teachings of Jesus, the things that Jesus did and said and all that kind of thing throughout his ministry. And, sometimes it gets a bit confusing, especially the way the gospel writers put it together. And with Luke especially, sometimes a bunch of his sayings and teachings are so clumped together they don't seem to be cohesive or have any flow to them. But then again, if you look at them a little closer, they really, really do. Because really what Luke is trying to give to us in all these teachings of Jesus, and we're going to have a bunch of them. We're going to have a whole series of parables coming up pretty soon. They're just going to make your head spin. But what it does is it really gives us a picture of who we are as God's people and how we are to live our lives following in the footsteps of Jesus. And so that's what we have. Our gospel text for this coming Sunday is from Luke, the 12th chapter, and we'll be reading verses 32 through 40. And I think to do it justice in our time this morning in talking about our first thoughts on it, I need to read it. It's not that long. Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give alms. Make purses for yourselves that do not wear out, an unfailing treasure in heaven, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Okay, that's kind of the first part. Here's the next part. Be dressed for action and have your lamps lit. Be like those who are waiting for their master to return from the wedding banquet, so that they may open the door for him as soon as he comes and knocks. Blessed are those slaves whom the master finds alert when he comes, and truly I tell you, he will fasten his belt and have them sit down to eat, and he will come and serve them. If he comes during the middle of the night or near dawn and finds them so, blessed are those slaves. Okay, so you have that little section. Then you have this to kind of tidy it up. But know this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. So we kind of have like almost three different things that are kind of crammed together here, one after the other. And you say, well, I don't get it. Well, that's the whole point. These are a bunch of teachings that Luke has now gathered together that sometimes don't appear on the outside to kind of fit together, but he kind of molds them into a bit of a narrative. To understand it, you have to go back and read what comes just before it too. And we're not going to do that right now. But Jesus has talked about not worrying, not being anxious. And just before that, he talked about not putting your trust in riches. Okay? So don't put your trust in riches. Don't be anxious. Now, this is why. Don't be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. God wants us to have good stuff. He wants us to have his kingdom. He wants us to live into it and be a part of it. So it becomes a part of who we are now as we walk this planet. And so what does he tell us to do? He tells us to go sell our stuff. Yeah, go sell your stuff. But not just sell your stuff and then have the money sitting there to kind of pay your bills as you go along now. No, give it away. Give it away. Oh, you want to know something that's a little funny? Okay, you have this right here. The verse that comes immediately after our gospel reading for today is this. Peter said, Lord, are you telling us this for us or for everyone? Meaning everyone else. How do you like that? Sell all your stuff and give the money away. Give alms. Lord, is that really for us? Or are you saying that for everybody else out there? The answer is yes, it's for you. Peter, come on. It's for everyone who wants to live into this kingdom, because God wants us to have the kingdom. And if you're too overburdened and your mind is too set on the things that you have and having enough to survive and this, that, it's not going to happen. Yeah, those are legitimate concerns that we have, and we do have to work and, pay our bills and stuff like that. But at the same time, you can't be overwhelmed with that either. You need to kind of, you think Jesus would have put it this way? Just chill out a little bit, just relax. God wants to give you the kingdom. And now how do we go about doing all this? Well, you live like God is giving you the kingdom. You are dressed for it. You're dressed for action. You're like that master who's just got married. Yeah, he's out on his honeymoon. But you just don't know when he's coming back. He never gave you a timetable. What kind of a master is that? Come on. You got to at least let us know when you're getting back. So what do? You just live like it could be at any given moment. Be ready. And here's the big surprise. When he walks back in that door, he's going to gird up his belt. It says literally gird up his belt, which means you pull it up and you tuck it in the cincher, the little rope that goes around your waist, so that your legs are freed up to move quickly, because you are now going to do service for someone else. You are going to work for them. And what's this all about? Hey, just as the slaves, the servants are supposed to be working for the master, he's going to sit them down and give them service. That's the way God is toward us. He is going to give us one monumental surprise in that moment. So that's kind of a cool image right there. But then all of a sudden, everything kind of gets topsy-turvy here for a moment. We know this: if the owner of the house had known what hour the thief was coming, he wouldn't have allowed it to be broken in, because he would have been sitting there with a shotgun, right? Nah, he would have been sitting there making sure the doors are all locked and scaring the intruder away should he start banging at the door or, trying to jimmy the lock. Wait a minute. Okay, preparation. Okay, we understand that. But then, look at this last part. You must also be ready. You have to be ready, because you don't know when the Son of Man is coming. In other words, wait a minute, he's the thief? Jesus is the thief? Crazy stuff, right? But don't get too confused by that. Simply, it's stated, it's, okay, yeah, Jesus is going to be gone for a while, and you just don't know when he's going to be coming back. So just like the guy on the honeymoon, you don't know when he's getting back. No one let you in on those secrets. So just be ready. And being ready means not only being attentive, but being busy and being prepared and doing what it takes to await that arrival. Whether it's of the master returning from his honeymoon, or the thief who's coming to take all your stuff. So maybe that's why he told us at the beginning of this to sell all of our stuff, because then we don't have to worry about that, right? No, not really. Got to put all these things together and kind of dissect them and pull them apart as well as putting them together. And what you see is just a picture of our lives as Christians, that we remain faithful to his call to be his people. And part of that call, an overwhelming concern all the way through the Gospel of Luke, I think goes back to the very first part of what we're reading for today. Selling your stuff, but then giving the money away, specifically giving alms, which is taking care of the poor and those on the fringes and the edges of society, those who've been pushed aside, those who don't have the good stuff like we do. Oh, there's an awful lot you can go into with this reading, and especially with the stuff that comes before and the stuff that comes after. And really, some of the stuff that comes after this, we're going to have that next week. And some of it's a little disconcerting, but it talks about the realities of life in the kingdom. So stay tuned for that next week. God's blessings be with you as we continue to swelter in this hot and muggy and humid weather. But hey, it's a part of summer. And besides that, I don't want to hear anybody complaining, especially when we get to mid-January, beginning of February in the coming year, because, yeah, then you're all going to be complaining that it's too cold. We get it all. It's all a part of living in the kingdom. God's blessings be with you.